What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it's time for another game preview / game prediction for the 2023 college football season. And our next game preview / game prediction will be Week 11's matchup between the Michigan Wolverines and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Big time game coming up here in the Big Ten Conference this weekend in week number 11. This should be a really big time, exciting game. Obviously, going to be a really good one here between these two teams. Michigan, they don't have a lot of history here with Penn State. You know, it's not like a big-time rivalry game here between these two teams. These two teams have not met each other a lot of years, but Michigan leads the all-time series by 6. They lead it 16-10 over this Penn State team. Michigan has now won the last couple years here in this matchup. We're going to give you a game preview / game prediction on this game, go through the stat comparisons here between these two teams, give you the game summary of what time the game will be coming up this weekend and who the favorite will be coming up this weekend as well. And then we'll give you the previous game result matchups here for both of these teams, look at their previous game results, and then we'll also give you a game prediction of how the game will go down coming up this weekend. So let's get right into it here. We'll start with the stat comparisons here between the Michigan Wolverines and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Here are the stats here for both of these teams. Looking at Michigan, they're coming in with a record of 9-0. They're averaging about 40.4 points per game. So, yeah, that number is very big for this Michigan offense. They're averaging about 424.2 yards per total yards this year. That offense may not be very explosive like it was last year, but this is still a really good Michigan offense, in my opinion, than passing yards per game. 257.1 yards per passing. J.J. McCarthy's been taking care of the football pretty well. He's only got 3 interceptions on the year and 18 touchdown passes. Rushing yards per game, Michigan averaging about 167.1 yards on the ground. Blake Corum, one of the top running backs in the country in history of Michigan, but he's not been having like the best year kind of compared to last year, but he's got like 16 rushing touchdowns. That's a really good stat number there for this Michigan running game. And again, this is a Michigan team that can be really good on the running position and everything. And then offensively in the rankings here for Michigan, 43rd on offense this year. Again, not one of the most very explosive offenses this year kind of compared to last year. But again, this is a really good Michigan offense still, in my opinion. And then defensively, they're first in the country on defense. So this is one of the top defenses heading into this game coming up this weekend here for this Michigan team. So those are the stats there for Michigan. For Penn State, they're coming in with a record of 8-1, averaging the same points per game as Michigan, about 40.2 points per game. Total yards per game for Penn State are 394 yards per total yards this year. That's not a big number for Penn State, but this offense is good at times. Sometimes they're pretty inconsistent. But again, this is a really good Penn State team, in my opinion. Passing yards, 220.8 yards per passing. Drew Aller, what a year he's had for this Penn State team, 20 touchdown passes. And, of course, only 1 interception coming into the Ohio State game. So that passing yards number is not big for Penn State. But, you know, the consistency of Drew Aller has been really good this year. Rushing yards per game, 173.2 yards per rushing. This is a good running team. Allen was one of their top rushing running backs here for this Penn State team. So, yeah, Penn State overall can run the football better than Michigan, but these are two like really good running teams. Offensively in the rankings, 61st on offense for Penn State. Kind of like similar to Michigan. They're not one of the most explosive offenses in the country, but they're definitely right there, you know, as a really good offense anyway. And then defensively in the rankings, they're second on defense. So we got the two top defenses here going at it in the country this weekend. But looking at the stat comparisons here, Michigan has a slight advantage there in the points per game system, obviously averaging a little bit of close to points per game here. It's about 40.4, and then on the other side it's 40.2. Total yards per game, Michigan with an advantage there, and then passing yards, Michigan with advantage there as well. And then the rushing yards go to Penn State, and then offensively they have the better offense than Penn State, but both of these defenses are ranked first and second. So these are the stat comparisons here between these two teams heading into this weekend. So let's get now into the game summary here for both of these teams. So look at this game summary here, Michigan and Penn State. This game will be at noon Eastern time on Fox coming up this Saturday. Michigan, as of right now, favored by 5.5, and the over and under is at 43.5. So this game will be at University City, Pennsylvania. one of the toughest places to play here in college football, and definitely in the Big Ten Conference. Michigan comes in here as the number 2 ranked team in the AP poll, and then Penn State here is at number 11. Michigan coming in at 9-0, Penn State with 1 loss on their schedule. Obviously coming to Ohio State a couple weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, I should say. But this game will be on Fox. It's a noon game. I kind of wish it was a night game, to be honest, because the crowd would be so loud if it was a night game, and it probably should be an ESPN-type game. But it's also a Big Ten game, so it's definitely going to be a Fox game here. So there's no question about it that they're going to go with a Fox game here. But Michigan, as of right now, favored by 5.5. And you look at the FBI, Penn State given about a 50.2% chance to win, and then for Michigan, it's about 49.3% chance. So yeah, the FBI likes Penn State in this game. I think they definitely like the confidence from this Penn State team that they're at home in this one. But Michigan is a really good team. I mean, obviously, I think this is going to be a really close game. I could very well see Penn State pulling off an upset in this one, but it will be a really tough task in this game. So Michigan and Penn State here. Top 15 showdown here in the Big Ten. I wish this was a top 10 showdown as well. But this game will be at noon Eastern time on Fox. Let's now go into the previous game results here for both of these teams. We'll start with Michigan. They're coming in with a record of 9-0. They defeated Nebraska on September the 30th, 45-7, a very solid win there. Then they also beat Minnesota on the road, 52-10. So those were great offensive performance in that game. And then you look at that Indiana game. They won 52-7 on October the 14th. They defeated their rival Michigan State on the road 49-0 in a shutout. Michigan State has not been very good this year, and then they defeated Purdue this past weekend 41-13. And just look at those game results for Michigan. I mean, obviously, 7, 10, 7, and then 0, and then 13 this past weekend. So they gave up 13 points this past weekend. That's the most points that they've given up all year. Michigan has had some really solid wins. You can just tell, by the way, that Michigan has been very consistent with their wins this year. Obviously, the investigation and everything, all the rumors that have been going on for Michigan, you got to wonder if Michigan will probably, keep being what they used to be. Not really cheap for the rest of the way like they've been doing the last couple years. But anyway, Michigan has been having some really good wins this year, and that really just tells me that Michigan has been the most consistent team in college football this year. And then Penn State here, sitting here at 8-1. They defeated Northwestern on the road September the 30th, 41-13. Defeated UMass 63-0 in a shutout there on October the 14th. And then they lost to Ohio State here in their first game, October 21st, 20-12. They were right there with Ohio State in the first half, but second half, Ohio State started playing really good defense, and the Buckeyes just kind of, got a late touchdown from there, and that kind of changed the game as well. Penn State had a pretty tough game against Indiana on October 28, 33-24, but then they blew out Maryland this past weekend, 51-15. The offense played pretty well in this game this past weekend. So these are the game results here for both of these teams. And again, Michigan, I think, has been the more consistent team. But again, based off of the performances and everything, again, Michigan has been the more dominant team. Penn State, I believe, is, a little bit up and down at times. They were up and down in that Indiana game, but they were really good in the game against Maryland this past weekend. So these are the game results here for both of these teams, the previous 5 game results here for their 2023 season. Let's now get to the prediction now. So we got Michigan versus Penn State here. This game will be on Saturday at noon Eastern time. College Game Day, surprisingly, not going to be here for this game, but it's definitely going to be a big one here. Michigan and Penn State. Both of these teams are battling for a Big Ten Conference championship spot. Penn State trying to get back to that Big Ten championship, look and everything. But I tell you what, this game is going to be very tough. It's a very tough game to predict. Back in the offseason when I did my offseason predictions, I did pick Penn State to pull off an upset in this game. I tell you what, though, based off of what I've seen from Michigan this year, they have just been so consistent, more consistent than Penn State perhaps. But again, this is going to be a very tough game. I think this will be a defensive battle. I think both teams are pretty even on the offensive side of the football and defensively. I think Michigan has the better defense, but both teams are going to be really relying on their defense in this game, but also it's going to come down to the offenses in this game as well. I tell you what, I think the first half it's a low-scoring game, but I think second half, that's where things could really change. I think turnovers are going to probably change the game here for both of these teams. And I think Michigan is going to force that turnover. Let's say Penn State has like a really last drive to win the game, but then Michigan, I think they force a turnover. I think it's probably an interception or maybe a fumble, and I think Michigan comes away with the win here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Michigan here. So I'm changing my pick here from the preseason to the season here. I'm going to say that the Wolverines survive a really close scare game here at University City, Pennsylvania. Again, one of the toughest places to play here in college football. 106,000 fans will be there. And I got my final score prediction being 21-17. So I think Michigan, they're down in this game, probably like, with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They score a late touchdown, and then obviously they come up with a turnover there, maybe with 1 minute to go in the ball game and everything. So I think that's what's going to change the game here in this one. And I think Michigan is going to be that better team here. I don't really want to say better team, but I think they'll definitely be that team that comes out on top with a victory. So I got Michigan here, beating Penn State here by a score of 21-17. And again, a low-scoring type game. I think it's going to be all about the defense for Michigan. They make that final stop there at the end of the game, and I think they force a turnover, and I think that's what's going to change the game from there. So this is my official game preview / game prediction for this matchup between Michigan and Penn State. Let me guys know what you think about this game. Who do you think wins it here this weekend? Give me your final score predictions down in the comments below. Do you think Michigan wins? Do you think Penn State wins? And also give me your score prediction down in the comments below, and let me know down in the comments below who do you think will win this game. But thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.